Hi, BookTube. So it feels like forever since I got to sit down and chat with you, and it feels like it's been forever since I got to sit down and read, to be honest. I think the last time I sat down and chatted with you was right after I got back from my North Carolina and Virginia trip. I had to go to North Carolina for work, and then I tacked on a couple of days of vacation time to go up to the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia, and yeah, I absolutely loved that trip. And I know I had mentioned that I was gonna add some pictures to that video. I didn't do that, but I am going to do it for this one because since I last spoke to you, I went to California for 2 weeks and I visited friends in San Francisco and Northern California. And so when I was in San Francisco, my very last day, it was absolutely like clear blue skies and like 85 degrees, which is just unheard of for San Francisco. So I got beautiful pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge. And so I will just do a combination Virginia and San Francisco some clips at the end of this video. I promise it's gonna happen. But with all of that, I passed many a bookstore when I was traveling, but I only went to one bookstore on my trip, and that was a bookstore in Grants Pass. And it's been on my list to see like 3 or 4 years now because it's on my route from Portland to Sacramento. And so I just, of all the bookstores I could have gone to, I ended up going to this one. And they were closing the very next day, like closing shop. So everything in the bookstore was $1. So I literally got a box of books. It's not as many as you think. I think I got a total of 13, but I indeed got a box of books. And I think the reason why I didn't go to any other bookstores on all these travel is because I've been traveling so much, and with like a lot of changes at work and stress that comes with that, I haven't been able to sit down and read that much either because I've barely been at home. Like in the month of September, I think I was only home maybe 7 days total. Like I just got back from California this last Tuesday. So like, what was that, October 2nd, October 1st or 2nd? It's I've had a lot going on, but yes. So yeah, with all of that, I felt almost guilty going to bookstores because I have so many books on my shelf, and yeah, I haven't had time to read, which is weird for me to say because I always manage to find time to read. And I did read on my trips, just a little bit here and there, but I was visiting like friends and family, so it was just, everything was like an upheaval. But yes, so I thought I would share with you the books I got and also the books I'm currently reading because I know I owe you several videos for, I can't remember which wrap up I've done. I don't think I did an August wrap up because I was traveling at the end of that month. Because like, yeah, all this travel started at the end of August, like August 22nd or something. I don't even know. I've been going nonstop from like basically August 22nd or 23rd to October 2nd or 3rd, whatever day I got home. So that tells you. Well, yeah, anyway. So yeah, I think I need an August wrap up and a September wrap up. I might just do a combination because I barely read anything with all that travel. So yeah, that'll be my next video. But I wanted to catch you up on what I'm currently reading because I'm finally back home. I'm settled in, and so I want to read all the things. And so that's literally what I'm doing. I'm in the middle of many books because I couldn't choose just one. Now I'm finally back home. So I started View from a Sketchbook, Nature Through the Eyes of, and I might be butchering her name, Marjolaine Baston with Tova Martin. And so Marjolaine, she does all these wonderful illustrations. Like I am just astounded by the work. And so Tova, she goes and interviews and talks with Marjolaine, and so sprinkled throughout, because it's not just Tova writing. She does all of these, but then Marjolaine does these yellow paragraphs like sprinkled throughout the book. And Marjolaine, she grew up in Holland and now has a home in the Kansas City area in Missouri because she, and so the page I'm currently on right now, she works or worked, I don't know if she still does, for Hallmark. And Hallmark has, or had, again, I don't even know exactly if it's past or present, they had a nature preserve near their headquarters area or in Kansas City. And so she flew in from the Netherlands, I think, to go and work with them. And so while she was there, she was just captivated by the prairie. And so she bought, I think it was like 300 acres, and has like cultivated it where it's all natural grasses and flowers of the prairie to like bring back the prairie. Because I think it's like the saddest thing of how all this prairie is now like farm, it's all like corn and soybeans and things like that. And so I think it's wonderful for these kind of people that just bring it back to what it should be, kind of thing. So she's constantly drawing like flowers and the birds, and she's constantly watching these birds. Because Tova talked about how like in any tree and near her property, it's not just one birdhouse. There's multiple sprinkled in each tree. And so yes, I am really loving this book. Like I just again, like astounded by her work. Like, every single page, like even this little raccoon, even like the tiniest of drawings are just amazing. I feel like I'm just seeing them in person. So very happy to dive into this one. And it's going through seasons. And so right now she's back in Holland or Netherlands. I can't remember exactly because it talks about both areas. But anyway, I just got this actually in Virginia back in August at a bookstore. So yay for getting to books like right away. And then I am reading a short story collection, 101 short stories by Gladys Tabor. I've read quite a few of her nonfiction books, but this is short stories. And I found Gladys Tabor a couple of years ago, but I had no idea. Like in the back here, it talks about, let me see here, because I read it somewhere where it was talking about how she was like famous for her short stories. Let's see here. Let's see. Because she's known for her Still Meadow books, but she wrote many short stories for magazines. I'm trying to find where it mentions that on here somewhere. But anyway, these are just very like kind of like her nonfiction book. Sorry, the cover here is catching on the plastic. I'm trying to fix it so it doesn't get all crinkledy here. So like I'm trying to keep the dust jacket on, which I don't normally do, but yeah, this like plastic was catching on in the actual hardcover. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of like her nonfiction where the short stories are very like quiet and they're not coming at you with a bang kind of thing. Some of them do, but they're just like calming, nice stories. Again, not all. I'm like summarizing here, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. They're just like nice, relaxing stories to dive in. They'll put a smile on your face, and so happy to read one of her books. And then I'm reading 2 ebooks because yeah, like I said, I'm reading many things. So I got short stories. Then I have a sketchbook garden kind of book. And then because it's October, I had to read a Shirley Jackson book because she is one of my favorite spooky gothic kind of writers. And this is Let Me Tell You, New Stories, Essays, and Other Writings by Shirley Jackson. And this is a book I read years ago when it came out. Like 2016 or so, I can't exactly remember. But the cover is actually green, and you might have seen it in bookstores. But this is like, it introduces like you to all aspects of Shirley Jackson's writing, as the subtitle says, where there's memoir clips, and there's short stories, there's essays, and so you get to know her, as a writer, as a person. I feel like very well, and like a lot of these were published through this book that were uncollected stories, and so I think it's just like a remarkable collection, and I'm happy to be rereading this one. I typically every October want to read at least 1 or 2 Shirley Jackson items, whether whatever it is. Like I've read a lot of her books. I think I only have a couple left to read, and the other book I want to read is The Sundial by her later this month. And then a letter collection that I'm reading is The Letters of Emily Dickinson. And I think reading the Shirley Jackson collection, like Emily Dickinson was also on my mind, again, for like this like moody October month. And this just came out, I think, a couple of months ago. And this is a letter collection, and it's going from like chronologically. And I'm trying to read, because this is gigantic, I think it's like 1,000 pages. I'm trying to read at least 10 letters a day. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly why I'm keep showing this to you, because this is like a yellow letter, is what the cover looks like. But yes, reading this one. And then for audiobooks, I am listening to Jane Eyre. I have read that book twice physically, but it's been, I think the last time I read it was like 2015 or so. So I'm well due for a reread. I was like, well, why not try an audiobook? Me and audiobooks don't always get along because I have a hard time focusing on them. And, chapters will go by and I'm like, what did I just read? But because I've read Jane Eyre twice, I'm able to really follow along with the story and know what's happening. So that's helping me. So I'm like slowly making my way through that. I just started it yesterday. So that's the 5 books I'm reading right now. But you can see I'm just dabbling in many things because so many of them are like essays or short stories or letter collections, things like that, which is 3 of them are. I don't sit down and read it cover to cover. I do occasionally, but most of the time, no. Okay, so now I'm going to get into this box of books that I got from the bookstore that was closing. It was called My Bookstore in Grants Pass, and the lady said that she had, there's a sign on the door saying it was like her 20th anniversary this year, but then the lady that owned the building or the parking lot, I'm not sure which, she died and didn't write a will, and so it went to her son, and the son didn't want to deal with, or the headache, I guess, of dealing with rental properties, and so he's just, I'm selling it. And so the lady that runs the bookstore, she said, she'd been there 20 years, and the lady that had died, she only raised the rent $100 in the entire time that she had been renting from her. And so she said, like, any property in the area took well outside of her budget, so she had to close. But yeah, I did find quite a few books, and I'm happy to have gone. She had a cat named Lily, and she seemed very nice, and I'm sad I won't be able to go in the future, but I'm happy to have gone this time. When I did, like right before they were closing. So I got a book by Sigurd F. Olsen and Les Blacklock, The Hidden Forest. And Sigurd F. Olsen, okay, I'm not actually sure if I'm pronouncing his first name right. I have several of his books, and I've loved all of them. He writes nature writing from Minnesota. And so this is capturing his writing with pictures of the area. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have to get this book. Again, everything was $1 here, so and it's an older book. It has like as I'm flipping through the pages, it does have a kind of a smell to it, but it's not like a moldy smell, just an old book smell. Here's a picture of the forest, and so I just thought it was like a wonderful combination to fully visualize his writing. Okay, so now diving into the box. It's been like a week or so since I got these books, and I haven't opened it since I got it, so these will all be like new to me in a way. Okay, so Down on the Tree Farm by Florence Hardesty, and this cover. When did this come out? Let me see. 1992. Yeah, there's something about this cover I really like. It says, Florence met Verl, that name, Verl, through a dating service and married him a year later. She did not realize how much her life would change as a wife of an Oregon nurseryman. So she mixed a career as a professor with the demands of life down on the tree farm. What captured my eye is it was compared to the Egg-and-I, and which took place in, again, Pacific Northwest, in the Seattle region. And I was like, Oregon tree farm, and then the egg farm with the Egg-and-I. I was like, okay, yeah, sold, because Egg-and-I is like very humorous, but like sharp and witty, and real life farming. So yeah, I'm expecting. I have high hopes for this book. Okay, then I have David. There's a sticker on this one. David Darlington in Condor Country, a portrait of a landscape and its denizens and its defenders. And I really like condors and vultures, like turkey. I was like watching all the turkey vultures when I was in North Carolina and Virginia, and then since I was in California recently, it was like kind of on my mind. And this is what area? San Luis Obispo area. Yeah, it was where this focuses on an area I've never gone to, but would really like to see. Okay, let's see here. Noel Parent, A Reader's Delight. I have several of his books talking about his, I think it's like, short essays on his time in Vermont. And so this is a different kind of writing, but let me see here. It's all about, different, it goes through different excuse me. Let me see here. Yeah, it's going through different authors and their writings and whatnot. Yeah, it says it's like an elegant secondhand bookshop run by an eccentric book lover. Yeah, so it just like even the cover, the back over here, sells it for me. But yeah, yeah, I'll talk more about this once I read it. Adventures with a Texas Naturalist by Roy Bedachek. And this is another really silly cover. Does this come out in the 90s as well? Okay, it came out in 47, but this edition came out in 2001, so it's an older book. But in the back here, it's compared to Walden, so maybe like a Texas version of Walden. And I have a really, you can't see it, but I have a really pretty edition of Walden that's like staring at me that I want to get to this month in October. The collected works of Sir Garrett F. Olson, the college years, 1935 to 1944, with really pretty artwork. And here's the author on the back. And this was right beside the picture book that I found. So I was like, these will kind of go hand in hand. And I had never seen this book before. I have a like The Lonely Land, and let's see, I don't think you can see it in this. They're way up there, but I have like 4 or 5 of his books, and so this is kind of like a different book than these are collected stories versus his like full-length books. Fauna and Flora, Earth and Sky, Brushes with Nature's Wisdom by Trudy Ditmar. You can see through all these books the area I went straight to, the nature section, because because it was like the very last day of the book sale, most of the other sections were like decimated, but the nature section, the nonfiction, the whole nonfiction area wasn't, which is sad because I think nonfiction doesn't get its due. It doesn't get the love I feel like it deserves. But yeah, so I just went straight to the next nature section with these. Let's see here, and this is the Wind River Mountains of Wyoming, and I've been to that area, and it's so pretty. Like, I mean, yes, you have Yellowstone and the Tetons, but you really should check out the Wind River area. It's just so pretty. Yeah, so there's that one. Montana Women Homesteaders, A Field of One's Own, edited by Sarah Cartler. And this is a collection of like many like memoirs, letters, essays from many different people. And there's some pictures throughout here. Let me see if I can show one here. There's like old postcards and some snapshots of people. Let me see here. Their homes like out on the plains. So yeah, I like these kind of books. Beautiful Swimmers, Watermen and Crabs in the Chesapeake Bay by William W. Warner, and it won the Pulitzer Prize back in 1977. This is an older book with like the orange penguin spine. I don't have any of these, but this book sounded really interesting because it's talking about comparing it to Rachel Carson's Edge of the Sea, which I read and loved, and Henry Beston's Outermost House, which like very, very good. Both of them are very good books. And so if you're comparing this book to those two, I'm like, sold. I don't need to read anymore to know I like it. A Path of Colored Leaves by Rachel Carr Klipstein. These are annoying stickers. They all have these like stickers of what the original price was in the bookstore. I hope I can get these off without them like tearing the covers. But this is it's a very short book. Yeah, I thought right now with it being fall and talking about leaves, I couldn't pass it up. Let's see, what is this talking about here? Can a lifetime hold more than one dream? Worked with images of cattle, the land, trees, and leaves. Klipstein shares a story of her family's passion and risk. So it doesn't give you a lot on the back to describe the book. Well, Fable's walking by, but she's on her way, so she doesn't want to stop and say hello, I guess. But maybe she'll come back. She's going to her window. The Enchanted, the classic romance of the American Earth by Elizabeth Coatsworth. Elizabeth Coatsworth, that name sounds very familiar, but I can't bring to mind exactly what I've read from her. But this is another slim book that sounded really, really good. And I had flipped through this. Let's see, A Mystery of Life. So it seems like this, when I was looking through it, it seemed to be like a fiction story, but I'll find it. It was in the nonfiction section, so I might be wrong about that. Wild Season by Alan M. Eckhart. And this is an author that I recognize because, yeah, oh no, sorry, wrong. Because this is Alan, or maybe it's the same person, but this is Alan M. Eckhart, but this one is Alan W. Eckhart. So I was thinking these two are going to be the same writer, but maybe they're not. I don't know. They have to be. Two nature writers with like the exact same first and last name, but in a way, they have to be the same. That doesn't make sense otherwise. Let's see, A Year in Paradise by Floyd Schmo. An experience of living on Mount Rainier in the early 1900s. I've seen Mount Rainier, but I've never, been up close and like on the at the park there. But I hope to one day. And so I was like, why not read a book of like, what it used to be like? And there's lots of illustrations, swap illustrations here. And it's going through the season. I was like, yeah, I love any book like this. So those are all the books I purchased. Again, I don't think I can't do a pile, but I got quite a few to keep me busy. And I have quite a few books, like I said, I'm currently reading right now. But anyway, now I'll end this video and I will insert my clips from Virginia and San Francisco. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.